Okay. Okay. So okay. You see this? This is a pair of tongs that I've strapped together so I can use it as a back scratcher when I get it each. Right? 12 minutes into this fucking movie, I was bashing myself in the head because the main character is so fucking annoying I couldn't take it anymore. And you gotta sit with her for 1 hour and 20 minutes with this character. I already didn't have high hopes because this is the director of this film, Rob Savage. Rob Savage also directed Host, which was a smash hit everywhere, except I didn't care for it. I thought it was boring. I was uninterested. I thought it was uninteresting, kind of meh, kind of generic seance shit, spooky stuff, kind of a low grade ripoff of Unfriended, which is a much better film with that kind of, that kind of format. And this seems to be another thing where it's copying up what could be a better movie. I haven't seen it yet. Spree, with Steve Harrington himself as the main star. I have no doubts that movie is probably better than this just for having him in it. Because he could play an asshole type character but still come off as somewhat likable, especially since it's Steve Harrington. Yes, I'm saying that because I can't remember his name. Joel Keery, in that movie, which is designated for review at some point. Not till the end of the month, unfortunately. I could switch that up, actually, and put it sometime around here. I don't know. I'll get to it eventually. But much like Host, I want to say that just because I didn't like it doesn't mean it's just a bad film. However, I am hearing more negative reviews of this than Host, so maybe I'm not in the minority this time. Because I know I was in the minoritist of minorities with Host because I just did not like that movie. This one, however, by the way, I did set it up. There we go. Host. This was Shudder. This one is Blumhouse, which is another thing that baffles me. And I did realize that Blumhouse acquired this movie. I was looking it up. They acquired this movie. They didn't go from production. I think they acquired it. So it's not like it was full Blumhouse. I believe it's what happened. I like Blumhouse. I think they have some pretty good stuff they put out. But this, even some of the worst Blumhouse movies like Truth or Dare or Fantasy Island were better than this shit. I'm telling you. this is so a plot crunch, if I may. And we follow Annie Hardy, who is the star of this internet streaming show where she goes in her car, streams from a dash cam, her phone or a dash thing, and streams and talks to the people, does freestyle rapping stuff. And first and foremost, I think one of the biggest mistakes that they did, they let, it seems like maybe most of her dialogue was ad-libbed, and I don't think they should have let her do this. I think Rob Savage should have said, you know what, write a fucking script. You know what I mean? This is just, most of the stuff, even, you could tell most of her stuff was ad-libbed. A lot of the stuff she throws out, she does the stupid ass freaking freestyle shit that's all about, she starts to rap, she raps about incest and then like doing it up the butt. She does this thing where like she goes to see her friend Stretch in England, which we're gonna get into the problems why that couldn't even happen at this point. And she goes to see him and he's like, she's like, you know what they call him, Stretch? And like, not because he's tall, because he used to stretch out the groupies' buttholes and stick things up their ass or something. I don't know. That seems very ad-libbed. And then like every time she's in a situation where she has to run, it's just saying, oh my god, oh what the hell? It's like, shit on my tits, come in my ass, stuff like that. It's like she's throwing out these random things. It's very annoying. It's very annoying. I was in the middle of the plot question. I just started to talk about how insufferable this main character is. She's the worst. Fucking, we're not even done talking about her, but let me get to the plot crunch. She's the host of this show. She goes to visit her friend in England, and while there, she steals his car because she's just so great. And she picks up he's like a delivery guy. This is in the middle of a freaking pandemic, which also brings into question how she was able to catch a fucking flight, because during the beginning of the pandemic, the borders were fucking closed. So how is she? The whole idea that she gets on a plane and flies somewhere in the height of the pandemic makes no sense. The borders were closed. You couldn't leave the United States. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. But lo and behold, she does this. And she goes to visit him. There's an argument or something, and she steals the car. And she picks up an order that he has, but then the place is like closed down because there's a pandemic. And then the lady who is Salen from Host, I believe it's supposed to be the same character, which, if there's a connection to this, God forbid, but it's the same character. But she gives her this elderly woman to drive to a specific address, but she writes down on her arm, and yeah, and then weird stuff starts to happen, including the friend Stretch catching up with him. And Stretch is a dude, not played by Caroline Williams. That would be a crossover. But and there might be some cult shit going on. There's a strange woman coming after them with a shotgun. So we'll get into that. It's just back to Annie Hardy, they basically took this character, like, I guess her online real life persona is sort of similar to this, but not as insufferable. They made this character every stereotype of every toxic person during this pandemic. She won't wear a mask because she doesn't believe there's actually something going on. She's wearing a Donald Trump fucking hat with the Make America Great Again shit on it. She's disregarding people's feelings and acting like a bitch the entire time. It's just, she goes on this trip and leaves her fucking cat alone in her apartment. And her whole thing is, oh, leaving the cat is the only thing I'm going to regret. I'm like, but why are you doing it? If you're going to regret it, if you're going to feel bad about it, why do it? You have no one to watch this fucking cat, and you're just leaving. Who's going to feed it? Who's going to change this cat litter box? You got to put this... Makes no sense. Also, I want to point out, like, there's a problem because it is supposed to be set in the same universe, and this woman that she gets this older one from is Salen, the same person. It says Salen, it's the same Salen. Gemma is this guy's girlfriend. But every one of those characters died at the end of that, unless this is supposed to take place around then? I don't know. This is in the, like, is this happening while they're doing their seance shit? I don't know. I didn't think about that, actually. It could be. Because they're in the middle of the pandemic. And then stuff. I don't know. I'm going to have to. I don't want to rewatch it. But maybe I'll watch the Foundflix ending explain on it. So I could look at some of the stills he puts up there. And see if it's the same guy. I think she had a boyfriend, didn't she? Or was it another person that had a boyfriend? I don't know. But it could be the same. The most intriguing thing about this is they could be sent in the same continuity, which is fine. But this movie, if you don't, Host was better than this. I'm starting to remember stuff from Host that was better than this. Yeah, so she shows up, and yeah, to show how much of a bitch she is, she shows up, she just walks into their house in the middle of the fucking night. She does this thing where they used to welcome each other, but remember, you're in the middle of a fucking pandemic. She spits on her hand and slaps her friend who's asleep, waking him up. That's how she wakes him up, and his boyfriend, his girlfriend too. Excuse me, his girlfriend too. Wake them up that way. Although I will mention that her name is Gemma, but it's spelled with a G here instead of a J like any other one. So I don't know. But yeah, and then she's like a total bitch. Like she gives her hand sanitizer and she just wipes it on her pants. Like she doesn't believe in that stuff. Like she's one of those people who was claiming the pandemic was fake and that the government did it. And it's fucking get a life. Really, you have nothing better to do than say, oh, the government made it up so they could control us. Like, fuck, kiss my ass, all right? It's just one of those things. Oh, it's not real, man. It's the government trying to get to you, man. One of those freaking, all the people come out of the woodwork when something happens, you know. People are dying. They made it up, man. Or they're killing themselves, man. It's like, really, you have to come up with all this shit. Sorry, the toxic, this, people on the internet nowadays is just, Anyway, 12 minutes in, she's done 2 freestyle raps about insane, stupid fucking bullshit. And I was ready to bludgeon myself with that freaking back scratcher tongue thing. But I stuck through it. So, after going out with Stretch, they come back to the house and they don't really explain why, but Gemma just starts attacking her. She has the Donald Trump hat, so maybe that's why she's pissed off. I don't know. But she takes off with their car and then takes an order to deliver food, but she ends up getting this elderly woman. And this is where the shit really kicks off. But it's really hard to follow along with this story because the main fucking character of the fucking movie is the most insufferable person you could ever, like, she doesn't want to have anything to do with it until she's offered more money, until she do it. It's like, oh, man. Like, when she goes into this place, right? She goes in, and she's like, hey, I got an order, you know, and, like, she just walks up behind the counter, sticks her hand in the thing of, her unwashed hands, in this thing of pickled eggs and goes, it's a COVID egg, and takes a bite. And it's like, well, it's a Kovic. She used to call it Kovic for some reason. Maybe they couldn't use COVID, but so she takes it. The woman shits in the car, of course, and eventually Stretch catches up with them. How, I don't know. Like, I know how he found her, but, like, how did he get there? Because, like, she has his car. So how? You get a taxi there, maybe? Maybe. I don't know. Uber? Who knows? You got Ubers over there? But yeah, and then the woman, she like kicks the woman to the curb and then appears in the car and then disappears. And I'm sitting there wondering, why are they just focusing on this woman? And then she disappears, and it's like, you're supposed to read the comments, but they're so fucking tiny. I got these things. I can't read it. All right, you need to make the comments bigger in these movies. I'm sitting there going, trying to read these tiny ass little comments in the corner of the tiny little corner of the fucking screen. If you want people, you need to put them like, there are sometimes you actually have a sidebar on stuff that comes up, and you can see it more clearly too, and you can read them better. But no, you get these little tiny words, see through, and then little words that it's in white lettering, but still, it's hard to read. Yeah, this woman disappears, and then eventually they find her again, like in the woods or whatever. This woman is toting after them with a shotgun, and she reveals that it's her mother, but she's too young to be this old woman's mother. And earlier in the film, there's a revelation, because earlier in the film, when trying to clean her up, she finds an Ariana Grande tattoo on her belly. And so she reveals through a phone that the Ariana Grande tattoo is on this little girl, this like 14, 16-year-old girl, and that it is one. But the reveal is completely shit on by the fact that they have our main character laughing insufferably the entire time. Oh my fucking god, it's real! It's real! It's like, dude, this is a serious revelation. Something is fucking going on, and you're still being a bitch. You're just being insufferable. It's like, from this point on, like, there's no character change. There's no character change in this woman. There's a thing at the end where she's like, oh, I'm sorry. And he's like, you got bigger balls than I do. She's like, fuck yeah, I do. And then she's back to being herself. And even at the end of this, and with her freestyle rapping again, it's like, there's no change in this character. All this stuff that happened tonight, her friend's death, everything, her fault. And this character is just not changed. There's no character development with her, because she does not change from the beginning to the end at all. It looks like she does, but seeing by the fact that like she's just sitting there and it looks like maybe this has affected her where she's changed, and she just starts freestyle rapping again. I'm like, and one thing I'm gonna complain is that it keeps going off from a live stream. The live stream keeps like it cutting off. She's not live streaming. So how are we seeing this? If she's not live streaming to the people, how could we still see what's going on with her camera? Oh, by the way, if you watch, I hope you like this. Because that's what you're going to get. A lot of this in this movie. That's most of the running shots are. And yes, it's found footage. I'm a fat. I know found footage does that, but this is 80% of the runtime. Once the thing starts, it's like once they start this whole thing running, it's just that, and you can not even make out what's going on half the time. This review's running a little long, so I'll just cut to it. Eventually, she's able to get away from this woman, Angela, who's got something going on with her. I believe Angela kills Stretch, and the mother also dies too. She gets to this house, and just so happens to be the house she was supposed to take Angela to. Bull fucking shit, but okay. And she's like, oh, it's the same thing she wrote on her arm, and she's like, oh, shit on my nipples or whatever she says, I don't know. Shit on my face or whatever, and it's like, okay, this is where she starts just yelling out random shit because they let her fucking ad-lib and they shouldn't have. And then she runs into these cult people who are cutting their own throats for some reason, and then they release this demon out of Angela, and then she kills the demon, and then it looks like she's been horrified by her experience, and then she just starts freestyle rapping again. And if you thought that was just, something they, you know, they do it during the credits too. She's just, because they gotta fill this hour and 20-minute runtime, you can't fill it with actual character development, so you gotta do extra freestyle rap, apparently. Guys, I hate this movie. I hated it. The main character was fucking bitch the entire time. If they were going to, especially if they were going to keep her alive, she should have had a character arc where she was this bitch at the beginning of it, and then she changed at the end. The only thing we really get a resemblance of comeuppance is that she starts coughing at the end, which could mean she got the COVID, but she's also a smoker, so it could just be a smoker's cough. So we don't know. And she starts coughing, and then it cuts to, oh shit, she got like a positive COVID test or something. I don't know. But nothing. And really, if you're going to have your character be insufferable and not have an arc to change that, fucking kill her at the end. Just have the monster kill her and end the movie that way. Like, what kind of found footage doesn't end with the main character dying? The Visit. But that's a good movie. So you can't really argue there. And Grave Encounters 2, which is not a great movie, but it's better than this piece of shit. Yeah, I'd rather sit through Trevor blowing smoke into the camera than ever watch this piece of shit again. Which means I can only come to one conclusion. And I'm actually going to stand up and bust it out this time instead of being lazy like Jeepers Creepers 3. Because this fucking movie deserves it. So, when it comes to DASHCAM, this fucking movie can absolutely positively fry in hell. So, what are your thoughts on DASHCAM? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I've been Scotty. Coming up next is a movie that's hopefully better than this. I have seen it before, but that was once before, and that was years ago. But we'll see. Thank you for watching. I've been Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.